The mistake. The hunters arrive. Commander Zexkal stood on the bridge of his war cruiser and smiled. His sharp teeth gleamed in the red light of the command center. Before him, floating in the darkness of space, was a small blue planet. Earth, the humans called it. Soon it would be his. The Razak Empire had conquered 43 star systems. They were the greatest warriors in the galaxy. They hunted other species for sport and glory. Their weapons could crack planets. Their armies had never been defeated. And now they had found new prey. Status report, Zexkal ordered. His tactical officer, a young Razak named Thex, checked his displays. Commander, we have completed our scans. The human homeworld has approximately 8 billion inhabitants. Their technology is primitive. Their weapons are chemical-based projectiles. They have no energy shields. No plasma weapons. No faster-than-light combat vessels. Zexkal laughed. It was a harsh, clicking sound. 8 billion primitives. This will be the greatest hunt in Razak history. There is one thing, Commander, Thex said carefully. Our scouts report that humans have extensive military forces. They seem to spend significant resources on warfare. Fighting each other, no doubt, Zexkal said dismissively. Primitives always do. It means nothing. They have never faced a real military power. They have never faced us. The Razak were impressive creatures. They stood 3 meters tall with 4 powerful arms. Their skin was thick and armored. Their eyes could see in multiple spectrums. They had evolved as apex predators on a harsh world where only the strongest survived. When they discovered space travel, they brought that philosophy with them. Prepare the invasion fleet, Zexkal commanded. We will strike their major population centers simultaneously. Capture as many as possible for the arena games. Kill the rest. I want this planet conquered within 1 planetary rotation. Yes, Commander. As the Razak fleet prepared for battle, nobody noticed one small detail. A human satellite had detected them the moment they entered the solar system. And that satellite had immediately sent a signal to Earth. The warning ignored. Dr. Lisa Park stood in the United Nations emergency meeting and tried to stay calm. Around her, representatives from every nation on Earth argued loudly. Some in anger. Some in fear. Nobody was listening to her. Please, she said for the 10th time. We need to act now. The alien fleet will be in striking range within 6 hours. How do we know they're hostile? Demanded the Chinese ambassador. Perhaps they come in peace. Lisa pulled up the images on the main screen. They showed Razak ships scanning Earth with what were clearly military sensors. These are war vessels. Their scan patterns match attack preparations. Every military analyst agrees. We should try communication, the British representative said. We should send a message of peace. We did, Lisa replied, her voice tight with frustration. 3 hours ago. We sent greetings in every language we could think of. Mathematical sequences. Music. Pictures of Earth. They ignored everything. The American general spoke up. Dr. Park is right. These aliens are preparing to attack. We need to mobilize our forces. And start an interstellar war? The Russian ambassador shook his head. We should show them we mean no harm. Lisa wanted to scream. She was a xenobiologist. She had spent her entire career studying the possibility of alien life. She had always hoped first contact would be peaceful. But she was also a realist. And these aliens were clearly not here to make friends. We're running out of time, she said. If we don't act now, we will send another message, the UN Secretary-General decided. A message of peace and welcome. We will show these visitors that Earth is civilized. Lisa closed her eyes. They were going to get people killed. Millions of people. Maybe billions. And there was nothing she could do to stop it. The second message was sent. Like the first, it was ignored. 2 hours later, the Razak fleet reached Earth orbit. ZXKAL looked down at the blue planet and felt satisfaction. Soon it would be red with the blood of his prey. Begin the attack, he ordered. The attack begins. The first Razak strike hit New York City at dawn. Energy beams fell from the sky like rain. Buildings exploded. Streets melted. People ran screaming as the city burned around them. Similar attacks hit Tokyo, London, Moscow, Beijing, and a dozen other major cities. The Razak were efficient. They struck population centers to create maximum chaos. They wanted the humans scared and confused. It worked. For about 20 minutes. Lisa Park was in the UN building when the attack began. The building shook as explosions rocked the city around them. Alarms screamed. People panicked. Get to the shelters, someone yelled. But Lisa didn't run. She went to the communication center instead. She needed to know what was happening. She needed to see if there was any hope. What she saw made her smile. It was not a nice smile. The military had not waited for UN approval. The moment the attack began, they had responded. Every nation on Earth, all their old rivalries forgotten, united by a single purpose. Survival. Human fighter jets screamed into the sky. They were primitive compared to the Razak ships. But there were thousands of them. Tens of thousands. They swarmed the alien vessels like angry hornets. Ground-based missiles launched from every continent. Hundreds of them. Thousands. The Razak had shields, yes. But human weapons were designed to overwhelm defenses through sheer numbers. It was something humans had learned during their own wars. And then there were the weapons that nobody was supposed to know about. The secret projects. The experimental technology. The things that had been developed during the Cold War and never dismantled. Electromagnetic pulse bombs that fried alien electronics. Kinetic impactors that hit with the force of meteors. Drone swarms that attacked in coordinated waves too fast for the Razak to track. Chemical weapons. Biological agents. Things that violated every treaty Earth had ever signed. The humans were using everything. Holding nothing back. Fighting with the desperation of a species facing extinction. Commander ZXKAL watched his displays with growing confusion. The humans were supposed to be primitive. Weak. Easy prey. Instead, they were fighting back with a ferocity he had never encountered. Commander, we've lost 12 ships. Thex reported, his voice panicked. The humans are using suicide tactics. Their pilots are ramming our vessels when they run out of missiles. Impossible, ZXKAL said. But even as he said it, he watched another human jet crash directly into a Razak cruiser. The cruiser's shields held, but the impact damaged its weapons array. They're attacking from underwater as well, another officer reported. Submarines launching projectiles. We didn't even know they had underwater vessels. ZXKAL felt something he had not felt in his entire military career. Doubt. These humans were not behaving like prey. They were behaving like cornered predators. And cornered predators were dangerous. All ships, pull back to high orbit, he ordered. We need to reassess. But pulling back proved difficult. The humans had anticipated that too. They had launched thousands of small satellites into orbit. Not weapon satellites. Just debris. Junk that made navigation dangerous and retreat slow. By the time the Razak fleet reached high orbit, they had lost 37 ships. 37 ships against an enemy that was supposed to be primitive and helpless. ZXKAL stared at Earth. The planet was still there. Still blue. Still beautiful. And now, somehow, terrifying. What are they? He whispered. Thex had been studying the data they had collected. His face showed something between fear and respect. Commander, I've analyzed their military tactics. They're using strategies from hundreds of years of warfare. They've been fighting each other since before they had written language. They know every possible way to kill. And they're very, very good at it. But we're stronger, ZXKAL said. We're more advanced. Are we? Thex pulled up images of burning Razak ships. Commander, these humans took weapons designed to fight other humans and adapted them to fight us in minutes. They coordinated a global defense response in less than an hour. They used suicide tactics without hesitation. And they're still fighting. Below them, Earth continued to swarm with activity. More missiles launched. More fighters scrambled. The humans were not stopping. They were not surrendering. They were preparing for the next attack. What do we do? Thex asked quietly. ZXKAL had no answer. For the first time in his life, he didn't know what to do. He had come here expecting prey. Instead, he had found something else entirely. Something that fought back. Something that refused to die. He had found humans. And he was beginning to realize that attacking them had been a terrible mistake. The hunt reverses. When prey becomes predator. Commander ZXKAL called a war council. His senior officers gathered in the command center, their faces showing confusion and anger. They had never experienced anything like this. No species had ever hurt them this badly. We need to withdraw, said Sub-Commander Krell. She was older than ZXKAL, a veteran of 20 conquests. We've lost 40 ships in the first engagement. 40. Against primitives. This is madness. We cannot withdraw, ZXKAL said, though his voice lacked conviction. The Razak Empire does not retreat. We are hunters. We do not run from prey. These are not prey, Krell replied sharply. Look at the data. Look at what they've done. They've studied warfare for their entire history. Every single war, every single battle, every single weapon, they've learned from all of it. They're not advanced in technology, but they're advanced in violence. Very advanced. Thex pulled up new information. Commander, we've intercepted human communications. They're organizing a counterattack. They're building weapons specifically designed to fight us. And they're doing it fast. Faster than should be possible. How fast? ZXKAL asked. They've already reverse-engineered pieces of our crashed ships. They're adapting our technology. In less than one day, they've learned things that should take years. ZXKAL felt cold. The Razak had conquered other species before. But those species had been peaceful. They had built civilizations based on art and philosophy and trade. They had no experience with war. The humans were different. They had built their entire civilization around conflict. What are your orders, Commander? Krell asked. Before ZXKAL could answer, alarms blared throughout the ship. Contact, an officer shouted. Multiple human vessels approaching from the dark side of their moon. Impossible, ZXKAL said. They don't have faster-than-light ships. They're not using FTL. They're using conventional rockets. Dozens of them. All carrying nuclear weapons. Nuclear weapons. ZXKAL knew about those. The humans had almost destroyed themselves with those weapons decades ago. Now they were using them as missiles. Intercept them, he ordered. The Razak ships opened fire. Energy beams cut through space, destroying the human rockets. But there were so many. For every rocket destroyed, 2 more appeared. The humans were launching everything they had. Some rockets got through. Nuclear explosions bloomed in space like terrible flowers. Razak ships died in the fire. Their shields were designed to stop energy weapons, not primitive atomic bombs. Commander, we're losing ships. Thex reported. The humans are overwhelming our defenses. And then something worse happened. Something that made ZXKAL's blood run cold. The human vessels stopped coming. The attack just ended. The surviving rockets retreated back toward Earth. The Razak fleet, battered and confused, held their position. What are they doing? Zexkal wondered aloud. Thex checked his sensors. His face went pale. Commander, they were hurting us. They've pushed us into a specific position in orbit. And there's something here. Something we didn't detect before. What? A satellite. An old one. It's been inactive for decades. But it's powering up now. The satellite was primitive by Razak standards. Just a box with solar panels and some basic equipment. But humans had put it there 50 years ago, during their Cold War. And they had never bothered to remove it. Because it was a weapon. One of thousands of weapons humans had built and scattered throughout their solar system, just in case they ever needed them. The satellite activated. It was a kinetic weapon. No explosives. No energy beams. Just a tungsten rod. Heavy and dense and accelerated to tremendous speed. It hit the Razak flagship directly in the main reactor. The Predator's run. Zexkal's ship died instantly. The reactor breach killed half the crew in seconds. Emergency systems kicked in, sealing compartments and saving the survivors. But the flagship was powerless. Dead in space. Helpless. Zexkal found himself in an escape pod with Thex and Krell. They watched through the small viewport as human ships approached their crippled vessel. Not to destroy it. To board it. They're taking prisoners, Krell whispered. They want to study us. Learn from us. We need to send a message to the Empire, Zexkal said. Warn them about these humans. Too late, Thex said. He was monitoring the tactical situation. The humans jammed our communications 6 hours ago. Nobody knows what's happening here. And by the time anyone comes looking for us. He trailed off. They all knew what would happen. The humans would have reverse-engineered Razak technology by then. They would have adapted it. Improved it. Made it their own. A human voice came through the pod speakers. It was speaking in perfect Razak language. Somehow they had already learned it. Razak vessels. This is Admiral Chen of the Earth Defense Forces. You have attacked our planet. You have killed millions of our people. You thought we would be easy prey. You were wrong. The voice paused. When it continued, it was colder. Harder. We are giving you one chance. Surrender now. Provide us with all information about your empire. Help us understand your technology. In exchange, you will be treated fairly as prisoners of war. You will not be harmed. You will eventually be returned to your people. Another pause. Or you can refuse. And we will show you what humans do to things that threaten their families. What humans do to predators that hunt their children. We have had thousands of years to become very creative with punishment. Zexkal looked at his officers. They looked back at him. They were all thinking the same thing. They had come here as hunters. Confident. Superior. Sure of their victory. Now they were the prey. What do we do, Commander? Krell asked. Zexkal thought about the Razak Empire. About his people. About what would happen when Earth learned where the Razak homeworld was. Would they come seeking revenge? Would they bring their terrible weapons and their brutal tactics and their refusal to ever give up? Yes. They would. Because that's what humans did. They didn't forgive. They didn't forget. And they never, ever stopped. We surrender, Zexkal said quietly. The message to the galaxy. 6 months later, the Razak Empire received a transmission. It came from their missing war fleet. At first, they were excited. Their hunters had conquered Earth. They would celebrate. Then they watched the recording. And their excitement turned to horror. Commander Zexkal appeared on screen. He looked tired. Defeated. Behind him stood human guards, watching calmly. To the Razak Empire, ZXKAL began. This is Commander ZXKAL of the 7th Conquest Fleet. I am recording this message as a prisoner of the human species. He paused, as if the next words were difficult. We attacked Earth believing them to be primitive and weak. We were wrong. Completely wrong. The humans are the most dangerous species I have ever encountered. Not because they are strong, though they are. Not because they are advanced, though they are becoming so. But because they refuse to lose. ZXKAL's image showed deep respect mixed with fear. Humans evolved on a death world. Everything on their planet tried to kill them. So they learned to kill everything first. They spent thousands of years fighting each other. They developed weapons and tactics that no other species has dreamed of. They are not advanced in technology. They are advanced in violence. He leaned forward, staring directly at the camera. We are prisoners now. But we are treated well. The humans follow rules even in war. They gave us the chance to surrender, and they honored that surrender. They are not cruel. But do not mistake kindness for weakness. Another pause. Longer this time. I am sending you all the data we collected about Earth. Study it carefully. Share it with every species in the galaxy. And remember this lesson: never attack humans. Never threaten their world. Never hunt them for sport. Because if you do, you will discover something terrifying. ZXKAL's expression was haunted. Humans don't have the strongest weapons. They don't have the best ships. They don't have the most advanced technology. But they have something more dangerous than all of that. They have determination. They have creativity. And they absolutely refuse to accept defeat. He stood up, preparing to end the recording. The hunt is over. The predators became prey. And Earth is no longer a target. It is a warning. Leave them alone. Because if you don't, they will come for you. And when humans hunt, they never stop until the prey is caught. The recording ended. The Razak Empire debated for months about what to do. Some wanted revenge. Some wanted to forget Earth existed. In the end, they chose wisdom over pride. They declared Earth off limits. They warned every species they encountered. They added humans to the list of things that should never be disturbed. And they were not the only ones. Other species learned the lesson. Earth became known across the galaxy. Not as a primitive world to be conquered. But as a death world inhabited by Deathworlders. A place where evolution had created something unique and terrifying. Humans eventually developed faster-than-light travel. They ventured into the galaxy and met other species. Some welcomed them carefully. Others feared them and kept their distance. But nobody ever attacked Earth again. Because everyone remembered what happened to the Razak. Everyone remembered the lesson. When you hunt humans, you become the prey. Dr. Lisa Park, now much older, stood in the United Nations building and addressed a room full of young diplomats. They were preparing for humanity's first formal contact with a galactic community that both feared and respected them. Remember, she told them. We didn't ask to be feared. We didn't want to be known as warriors. We wanted to be explorers. Scientists. Friends. She pulled up images of the battle against the Razak. Images that were now taught in schools across Earth. But when we were threatened, we defended ourselves. We used everything we had learned from our violent history. And we won. Not because we were cruel. But because we were determined. The young diplomats listened carefully. Now we go into the galaxy as both. We are scientists and warriors. Explorers and defenders. We offer friendship to those who want it. But we also offer a warning to those who might threaten us or those weaker than themselves. Lisa smiled. It was a proud smile. We are human. We survived our own planet. We survived each other. And we will survive anything the galaxy throws at us. That is our nature. That is who we are. She looked at the eager faces before her. Go out there. Make friends. Learn. Explore. But never forget the lesson the Razak learned. When humans are pushed, we push back. When humans are hunted, we become the hunters. And when humans protect something, nothing in the universe can take it from us. The diplomats applauded. They understood. They carried with them the dual nature of humanity. Peace and violence. Kindness and strength. The ability to be both protector and warrior. Earth's ships launched into the galaxy. Not as conquerors. Not as warriors seeking glory. But as explorers who could defend themselves. As protectors who would help the weak. As friends who would never forget an enemy. The galaxy watched and learned. Some species welcomed humanity with open arms. Others kept their distance. But all of them understood one fundamental truth. Humans were not prey. They were never prey. And anyone who forgot that lesson would learn it the same way the Razak had. The hard way. In the darkness of space, on 100 worlds, the story was told. The story of Earth. The Deathworld. The planet that fought back. The species that refused to be anyone's victim. And the story always ended the same way. When predators became prey. When the hunters were hunted. When the galaxy learned to fear the humans. Not because humans were evil. But because humans were survivors. And survivors don't know how to give up.